Speak the truth, but ride a fast horse.
Having reached the hour of 5:30, I am calling the October 10th, 2023 Modesto City Council meeting to order and ask the city clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Here.
Councilmember Scutia-Brayton.
Here.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Here.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Present.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Here.
And Mayor Zwellen.
Here. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the invocation from Lynn Crace from Emmanuel Lutheran. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. We pray. Gracious God, you are ever present, always merciful, and your love knows no bounds. Tonight we ask that your loving kindness be present in this room so that everyone experiences welcome and every issue discussed is done so with care and respect. We also ask for your stabilizing presence in our world so filled with violence. Be a source of strength for our sisters and brothers experiencing unspeakable horrors and terror, especially in the Middle East and in other areas torn apart by war. You are a God of peace and justice. Instill in us the will to work for both. Bless and guide these, our community leaders, as they administer the business of this city and in all they do. It's in the name of love we ask all this. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does the city clerk have any announcements?
Yes, Mayor. Just a reminder, public comment is 3 minutes, and there are blue speaker cards at the entrance of the chambers.
Thank you. Do any of the council members have any conflicts of interest? All right. Will the city attorney report out on closed session?
Yes, Mayor. The council considered a few existing litigation cases today. No reportable action was taken.
Thank you. Next is item 1, StanCog Community Outreach for Unmet Transit Needs Process. Presenting today will be Jean Folletta, Director of Mobility Programs, Stanislaus Council of Governments. Welcome, Jean.
Great. Thank you so much for having me, Mayor Zwellen and Modesto City Council. Yes, I'm here to talk to you about the Unmet Transit Needs Kickoff. So this is an annual process that we do. It's done in conjunction with the Transportation Development Act. It's actually in statute in that law, and that we must complete this unmet transit needs process every year. Now the requirements include 1 public hearing, that we do outreach, and then that we determine if there are any transit needs that are reasonable to meet, and then finally prepare a report. This slide shows you the schedule. We started in September with the going to our StanCog policy board and our standing committees, and you can see that we won't even end this process until most likely March 2024, when we hope to take a draft plan to our policy board for adoption. So it's quite a lengthy process. Part of the reason it takes so long is that we really want to do a good job on outreach. That's one of the fundamental parts of the unmet needs process. We're supposed to go out and talk to folks that might have unmet transit needs, talk to the local jurisdictions like we are here with you, and just really engage community members. This year what we did, though, is we took a little twist on what we usually do, and we really tried to enforce a team approach to maximize our outreach efforts. We have coordinated with MOVE. Stanislaus, we have a representative here from MOVE, Alicia, Stan, our TA, and Turlock Transit. All of us are coming together to make sure that the word gets out to the public. One of the great things that they all are doing is they're doing these pop-up events at the transit hubs, which I really like. They did one, I think, about a week ago in Turlock. And then they'll be doing another one here in Modesto at the transit hubs. And that way you really drill down and you get the people that are actually riding the bus. This is a great way to engage with the community leaders so that you can spread the word out, but it's also really great to be able to engage with the general public who are actually riding the bus. Also, MOVE has been really great in handing out flyers for us on the buses. They do a program called Travel Training where they teach people how to ride the buses, and through that effort they're also handing out the little flyers that I'll show you in a minute that helps people give comments. And this is the little flyer I was talking about. It's a Met Transit Needs flyer. We have them in both English and in Spanish. And we use that little QR code where that little guy is standing by the bus stop. And that QR code is what people scan, and then they can go into, it takes them right into the survey where they're giving their comments about the transit needs and their thoughts on transit in the region. As well as the QR, the little flyers, we have distribute those at outreach events. They're on the buses on what we call car cards, so people can click and take their survey that way, and they're posted on our website and our partners' websites. So what's next with this process? After we receive all the public comments, which we expect to have happen in late November, we compile them all. And then what we need to do after that is we establish whether or not there are any comments that are reasonable to meet. And I will explain that in just one moment. Then we prepare our report, and then we take that report, the Met Transit Needs Analysis Report, to the StanCog Policy Board for approval. After that's all done, and here's what everyone loves, then we can deliver funds to our local transit operators. And not until all this is done are they eligible for what is called local transportation funds, which is a majority of the funding that they use for transit. So what is a Met Transit need definition? I'm not going to read that to you, but I'm going to give you two examples of one that is reasonable to meet and one that is not reasonable to meet. And so if you've heard my little spiel before, just bear with me. I've been doing this for a while, and I've been in 3 different jurisdictions, and every year, we get somebody putting in a comment like, I want to go down south on Saturdays. And usually they say they want to go a place like Disneyland or something crazy like that, which obviously we're not going to do. That's not a good use of public funds, is to do this like once a week for people. But another, on the other side of things, a comment that was reasonable to meet actually came about 10 years ago. I love this comment because it's one of my favorite things in this county, where a bunch of senior citizens, including Jenny Canoyer, who I'm sure you all know, and some others, came together and said that there was a need for door-through-door services for our seniors. They were homebound, they couldn't get out, they couldn't get their meals, they couldn't go to the doctor, whatever. And so that was door-through-door, and it was just a much higher level of service than what any of the transit operators could provide. And so that was a transit need that eventually was deemed reasonable to meet, and that is how MOVE Stanislaus became the Consolidated Transportation Services Agency here. So a great example for this community. So that is my quick report, and I'll be happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much for your report. This is a report only, but are there any council members that would like to make remarks at this time? Councilmember Scooty at Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. Jean, great presentation and good job as always addressing transit issues. This is a very important process of providing transit services to our community. So I would emphasize and reiterate what you've already said to our community. And if you know anyone in our area, that youth, elderly, disabled community, students, how can, what are those unmet needs? How can we provide better services to you than we already do? This is the time to express those. So I would really encourage everyone to think about that and share this opportunity with others. Your information is taken into account seriously and hopefully funded, attached to it, and then a program rolled out. So thank you, Jean. This is a great opportunity. Thank you for coming and sharing it with us.
Thank you. Any other comments from council members? I think it would be noteworthy that on the StanCog policy board that was referenced, 3 of us council members serve on that. Councilmember Wright, Councilmember Scooty Brayton, myself, and then Councilmember Eric Alvarez is an alternate. And each of the cities are represented outside of Modesto, as well as the Board of Supervisors serves on that. So certainly appreciate your work. It's been enriching to me to realize that we really do reach out and try to meet those needs for people in our community that really require them to survive and live and thrive in our community. So thank you very much for being here this evening.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Next item on the agenda is consider reappointing. Excuse me? All right, would you like to ask that question before we go on to the next item?
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. Quick question for you. That was a great presentation. However, can you elaborate on the pop-ups and when they will be?
I'm sorry.
Can you elaborate? Thank you for that presentation.
Yes, okay.
Can you elaborate on the pop-ups that you're referring to, and then when is that going to happen here in Modesto?
We are still scheduling the pop-up here in Modesto, so we don't have a date for that yet. I know Alicia is working on that, but the pop-up is, and thanks for asking the question, I didn't do a great job in telling you what it was, is Alicia and one of our staff, Shannon Silva, go down to the transit hubs, and what they do is, what happens with transit is all the buses come in at one time, and they come in and they meet so that you can transfer from one bus to another bus. And so what they do is they're out there with these little cards and little prizes if you're going to fill out the survey, and ask people to fill out the survey. A lot of these people that I've noted, at least last year, are students, because one of the things we are trying to do is we want to hit all the different segments. And so students, especially high school students, is a big segment of transit ridership, or college students. And so those guys also typically are really fast on their phones. They can download that QR code and have the thing done in like 2 minutes. And so they basically are asking them just to, they give them the flyer, ask them to download the app, do their survey, boom, they're out. And so that's how those are done. We did them last year, and they were highly successful, especially with that segment of the population. They like that way. They're preferable to that method versus taking a moment and thinking things through. They can just do things much quicker, and that's their preference. So
Thank you for the clarification of the pop-ups, because that's a term now that folks are using for marketing, and they have vendors and things of that nature. So I didn't want folks to go out there thinking they were going to be able to buy a purse.
Nope.
So thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thanks for asking the question.
All right, thank you. Next is item 2, and if you're here when I read your name, we'd appreciate it if you would stand. This is consider reappointing Kayvon Bananka, I know how to say this, Bananka. Lola Maya Evans, Jocelyn Garza, Hamza Modan, and Abigail Manzano, and appointing Seda Alvarez, Edith Hughes, Martin Montez, and Sabrina Tour to the Modesto Youth Commission for the 2023-2024 school year from October 11th, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Thank you very much for standing. Does council have any questions of staff? Seeing no questions, we'll open to the public. You can go ahead and be seated. Thank you very much. Open to the public regarding item 2. Are there any members of the public that would like to come forward regarding item 2? Seeing none, I will close public comments and ask council for further comments. Councilmember Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank you students for stepping up and applying for the spot. I know that we got this going about 2 or 3 years ago again, and it's great to see fresh new faces coming onto this board. Thank you for your service, and hope you learn a lot. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Scudia Brayton.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank you all for applying and those that wanted to continue on the commission. I had the honor of being on the Appointments Commission when the commission was just formed, and this young group of people have done an yeoman's job at assembling rules and policies and having a real high-level conversation about how they see Modesto, where it should be, where it can be, and it's just so lovely to see this dialogue happening in the Youth Commission. And as life happens, they're getting older and some are transitioning now, and new commissioners are coming in. But we are so lucky to have this youth think tank amongst us that best advise us on how to make better decisions for this constituency group. And you all are our leaders and our future, so it's so delightful for you all to be so engaged and to help us govern our city better. So thank you all for your participation. I wish you all well.
All right, Vice Mayor Ricky.
I just want to echo some of Councilmember Scudia Brayton's comments here. Thank you for participating in our government. Your contributions are very much appreciated by this council, and I just want to tell you, you've got a real opportunity here. I mean, being on the Youth Commission, you have the opportunity to recommend policies to this council. And so I hope that you take that opportunity and you make recommendations to help make this city better. Thanks, Mayor.
Councilmember Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. So when you do go to college, just come back to Modesto, okay? And help us out. So don't take all that learning that you learned here and explore it somewhere else or use it somewhere else. Use it right back here in Modesto. So congratulations to you that are now on that Youth Commission. We're expecting nothing but excellence from you, and I know that's going to happen. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Alvarez.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to echo the sentiments of my colleagues here and just say, kudos to you all for being active members in our community. You're light years ahead of where I was at your age, and so that is indicative of where you guys will be in 2, 3, 5 years from now, right? And as you enter college, enter careers, don't forget about Modesto, right? Our city and our valley, our Central Valley region, unfortunately suffers a brain drain. If you haven't learned that term, you will learn it in college. And so consider, when you get equipped with education, when you get equipped with skills, consider, returning to Modesto and contributing that information, that knowledge that you learned to enhance the quality of life for us all. So again, congratulations to the outgoing commissioners and congratulations to the incoming commissioners.
All right. My only comment is if you're light years ahead of Councilmember Alvarez, then you and I are in a different universe at this point. However, I think that we can learn a lot from each other, always. And I think that Jean Folletta probably explained it best when she said, when young people are even doing the surveys, you can do it in 2 minutes, and it might take us a much longer time. So use that to your advantage. You're brilliant. I'm really looking forward to your service. And please reach out at any time to any of us if you have any questions or comments or want to give more input. And thank you so much for your service. So I have a resolution reappointing Kayvon Bonanka, Lola Maya Evans, Jocelyn Garza, Hamza Moden, and Abigail Manzano to the Modesto Youth Commission for the 2023-2024 school year from October 11th, 2023 through June 30th, 2024, and a resolution appointing Seda Alvarez, Edith Hughes, Martin Montez, and Sabrina Tour to the Modesto Youth Commission for the 2023-2024 school year from October 11th, 2023 through June 30th, 2024. Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Second. All right, motion by Councilmember Wright, second by Councilmember Escutia Brayton. Will the clerk please call the roll for this item?
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Wright.
Aye.
Councilmember Scutia Brayton.
Aye.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Ricky.
Aye.
Councilmember Bavaro.
Aye.
Mayor Zwallen.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Next is our public comment period. As noted on the agenda, public comment will only be in person. Zoom will still be available for viewing and wordly translation. Does anyone wish to speak on any item under public comment? This is for items not on the council agenda, and each person has 3 minutes to speak. I will read the names on the blue notes as I receive them, in the order that I received them. First is James Costello.
James Costello, Modesto Citizens Action Group and Modesto Peace Life Center. I wanted to congratulate all of you and the city staff for your recent awards having to do with homelessness. It's a complex problem, and these are two efforts that help with this complex problem. However, as you all know, we have been promoting some kind of safe sleeping system, and you've seen our documents. We've done a fair amount of research on them, and we are hoping that you will address this problem very soon, because rousting people and moving their tents and destroying their property, that's not a solution. Something else has to happen, and then it's ultimately your decision on what happens. And so I hope you already have city staff checking out options on this, because this issue needs to be solved. So thank you.
You're welcome. Next, Steve.
I know that we were all very disturbed and taken aback at the last meeting when you allowed this room to be taken over by neo-Nazis. I have to say, the way that you did not handle things a couple summers ago when Proud Boys came here in person and took over this room, I was hoping that you would have learned. And I do have to say, to some extent, your response was at least more decided, more definite. But unfortunately, you have chosen, you and Mr. Lopez, it seems, have chosen to punish the community of Modesto for the misdeeds of literal neo-Nazis. You know, I can't help but to feel like this was a wasted opportunity for you, Sue, because instead of learning from the incident with the Proud Boys, all you did was use a technical excuse to silence the voices in the community that you're supposed to learn. You're supposed to lead. I did notice that not a single one of you denounced the slurs, the ideology, or the organizational affiliation of those 3 neo-Nazis that took over this room, which I find extremely disconcerting. I have no idea why. It was hate speech. We all already know that there are laws that say that hate speech does not count as free speech. All you had to do was learn from the Proud Boys incident and come prepared. You could have very easily muted those speakers the moment that they said something that was out of line. But instead, you chose to take this opportunity to silence dissent. And a lot of people from this community rely on Zoom. I happen to be old enough to remember what life was like without the internet. And yet, it is common standard procedure now, every single meeting, that you post your agenda on a website on the internet. Nobody questions that. It is the same thing with Zoom. People have all kinds of valid reasons for not being able to come in person. And one of them, for me personally, was the fact that you and Joe have singled me out to weaponize the same police department that I have spoken out against for their violence, to shut me up. Not a single other person has been treated that way, and I have watched countless people go past time, and I have watched you, Sue, allow them to do so on many occasions. We deserve access, we deserve inclusion, we deserve leadership that actually wants us to be included. And I would urge you guys to take this opportunity to share with the entire community how you actually feel about neo-Nazi ideology, instead of rewarding neo-Nazis and encouraging their ideology by not even being willing to denounce it. We need you to do all of that for us, and I'm, to be quite frank, quite ashamed that you guys don't see how obvious that is.
All right.
Clarification there.
Next is Derek Castle.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members and City staff. Derek Castle, 115 Park Avenue. It's good to see everyone again. I've been away for a while. So where we're at, from correspondence and conversations I've had with many of you, I'm glad to see that there's a growing recognition that having 300 or 400 folks sleeping on the streets of Modesto is a tragedy, and we quickly need to find alternatives. And I'm glad to see that there's recognition that as much as we would love to have another 300 or 400 motel rooms or little huts for everyone, it's unlikely to happen anytime soon, and that we need to do something in the meantime until we do have those types of units. We're at a stage now, I believe, where it's not a matter of should we have safe camping, but how can it be done in the most effective way possible and in a way that avoids pitfalls. And in terms of pitfalls, I think we can use the analogy of potholes. Occasionally around Modesto we end up with a street with a whole bunch of potholes. However, we very rarely ever block off the whole street completely. What happens is the neighbours in that street just start driving slower, or they drive around the potholes until they're eventually filled. And unquestionably, as we move down the direction of safe camping, there are potholes, no doubt about that. But there's no need for barriers, there's no need for barricades. Rather, we simply need to recognise where the potholes are so that we can navigate safely around them. Mayor Sue, you for one have done an excellent job of pointing out some of those potholes. For example, you've raised with me your concern about tents in extreme weather. And that's a completely valid concern. Weather is a pothole. It's awesome that you care enough about our unsheltered folk to care for their health in that situation. But most cities provide an alternative place for campers to sleep once there are extreme temperatures. We too need a plan about that pothole. For another example of your compassion, you're not keen on having porta potties at the safe camping site. For hygiene, you would much rather having flush toilets with sinks that have running water. And that's certainly possible. All the big rental companies have what they call restroom trailers. And maybe that is a way to get around that hygiene pothole. But what I hope all council members realise is that the issues regarding safe camping are not like San Francisco, where there was the big earthquake, the freeways all buckled and cars went tumbling off. The issues of safe camping are simply potholes. In that San Francisco, they did need barriers, but here we don't.
All right, so
please,
we've exceeded your time. So
thank
can
you.
you please finish your comments? Thank you. All right, Rebecca Harrington.
Good evening, Mayor Swallen, council members Alvarez, Bavaro, Escutia, Brayton, Ricky, Williams, and Wright, and City Manager Lopez, and the esteemed people here today. I've come to thank you as being a sponsor for our Dia de los Muertos. In 2016, I organized the first free to the community Dia de los Muertos Day of the Dead event. Little did I know that 7 years later we would blossom from a budget of $7,000 to one of $27,000 in 2023. On June 6th, 2023, this council approved supporting our event. Thank you to Diane Sheetsley, who encouraged me to apply for the city grant for the support. This year we have 40 vendors, 12 food vendors, full day of entertainment on 2 areas, main stage right in front of the old graffiti dog, and then in the intersection at 10th and J. We have 26 nonprofit agencies and nonprofits and agencies providing information to the community. So this is not just about celebrating, it is about also bringing information to the community that's much needed. We have 10 community members creating altares or ofrendas. We have 15 cars with altars. And we have a desfile or procession of Catrín and Catrinas at 5 p.m. In addition, we have many people who have supported us. Just in this community alone, we have Health Plan San Joaquin, Blue Shield of California. We have, of course, the City of Modesto, Modesto City Schools, McHenry Bowl, Stanislaus County Office of Education, Supervisor Chance Condit, District 5, Modesto View, Adam Gray for Valley Solutions, Los Amigos Tire Pros, Estrella TV is doing commercials for us, City Tire Sales, La Tricolor, Fuego,